even when we dirty up the guitars a little bit, they're not like you're trying to crush anybody's skull or anything
Right.
like that.
Yeah.
So, but there's people that we know that like country music that like some of our stuff, people that like rock and heavier stuff that like our stuff, or outlaw country, or again, I don't know what you call it.
Yeah, it's cool. It's good.
We call it roots rock from the Rust Belt.
Ooh, I like that. That's a great phrase. When did One Ton Trolley start?
Oh, jeez. I knew that was coming, and I forgot. I forgot to do my homework. I want to say it was around 2016 or 18, roughly. We kind of started messing around. I guess it might have been 2016 when we first started getting together. Kind of, a few people came from different bands and didn't really coalesce into the band that it is right now until 2019, when our current drummer John Johnson joined the group. Before that, Rick Lewis, a great friend of ours, he was one of the co-founders, and he's on our first record, the No Simple Highways.
Where do people get that?
What's that?
How do you get a copy of this?
How do you get a copy of that?
Yes.
Well, the best places are to come to a show, and we are probably going to do a band camp thing where people can buy it. Or I haven't really done anything like that because nobody's really buying online from us so much.
Yeah.
In fact, it's hard enough to sell CDs at shows because hardly anybody has CD players anymore.
Right.
So everybody says, "Well, why don't you guys make a vinyl record?"
Yeah.
Well, that sounds like a great idea, except that they're expensive, but that doesn't mean we're not going to do it. They're actually getting a little less expensive. But what I did, like a big dummy, is I made too big of a record.
What do you mean? Too many songs?
Too many minutes.
Oh, too long. Okay.
So yeah, really too many songs probably to fit on a single 33 1/3 LP, which I'm now big into vinyl now. I'm getting into it a lot, and I love it. So obviously, I want to hear this on vinyl. And we had it mixed. I'm sorry, we had it mastered for vinyl at Third Man Records.
Ooh.
So it's ready to go.
Did you meet Jack White? Is he there?
No, he doesn't hang out there too much.
No?
Warren DeFever was the mastering engineer, and of course our recording mixing engineer and my co-producer on that record is Jake Shives, who's also a Clarkston resident. So we're connecting Clarkston.
Yeah, we love it. Also, I feel like we're going to jump all over. Maybe you guys already talked about this, but we wanted to just discuss the fact that our little setup here does not accurately represent the amazingness of your music, and we'll be sharing links to your actual recordings.
Oh, right.
Because we don't want people to hear the quality of our videoing. In fact, I was going to ask if you could replay Our Town again, only because we might have had some issues on the front end.
Right now.
And as people are tuning in, I feel like hearing the song that's going to be like the intro to our podcast would be great.
I can do that. This
right.
is where I typically make the most amount of mistakes. And I
Perfect.
forget the words, but
You are our kind of person. Yes, you're in the right spot. Yeah.
well, let me have a sip of coffee first.
Coffee helps.
Not actually as much of the cream, not so much with the vocals, but
Uh-oh.
but no, it's all good. So yeah, this is My Town, and this is the song My Town. Two birds singing in trees in two different yards. 5 empty bottles in the grass next to the car. Piles of cigarette butts and old candy wrappers. Months of papers in the gutter that were never delivered. The this is still my town. My town. Seems the names are the same on that old water tower. Jersey numbers to match as far as I can remember. Those Friday nights were made for those of us who would scatter. Leave the others to the cheers, what we attended would matter. In our hometown, our town, this will always be my town. This will always be my ground. I've been around the world, I've pulled my stakes, and I put them down. Wherever I call home, it ain't nothing like my town. It's the latest Zeus, draped in varsity letters. Drink it all in now, it may never get better. Once you've been to the top, nothing down below matters. We can drown all our failures in bourbon and bitters. In our hometown, our town, this will always be my town. This will always be my ground. I've been around the world, I've pulled my stakes, and I've put them down. Wherever I call home, it ain't nothing like my town. For One Ton Trolley?
Yeah.
I write most of them. I co-write with some people. Mostly Adam Carpenter, my friend in Marquette, Michigan, who's the leader of Adam Carpenter in the Upper Hand and also the bluegrass band Chase and Steel. Anthony Zach, guitar player in One Ton Trolley, also writes some of the songs.
Has he been with you the whole time?
Who's that?
Anthony Zach.
Anthony, yeah, he's been with us since right around, I think that was right around the beginning of 2019. You know, we kind of started recording, I think it was maybe 2017, maybe it was 2018. And
this one?
yeah, and we released a couple of singles. Our original guitar player was our good friend Andy David, but Chris Brown, our bass player, he's been from the beginning of all the recordings. He's on everything. So yeah, Anthony Zach writes some of the songs, and we're hoping to record one of those. Always something that should be coming up relatively soon.
Did you guys talk at all about Ghost Garden?
I was just going to ask about
okay.
that.
Yeah, I feel like
Yeah.
that's such an interesting
I know.
story.
So that
Yeah.
story you were telling us before, I was just want to say this is all original music, right? You guys don't do any covers. This is
I mean, we
all-
play a few covers at some of our shows if they make sense. I mean, we did cover Silent Night,
Right.
and
Right.
Is that a
and
cover?
I don't know.
Qualified?
I think it's public domain now.
Okay.
It must be like high
Yeah, we didn't have to pay any royalties.
Yeah, but it's mostly you guys. This is
Yeah,
you.
yeah, we're we decided to take the most non-lucrative route possible
Right.
and play our own songs,
Yeah.
which it's a little bit of an uphill battle. There's not that many places that you can go and be an original artist around here. There's a lot of tribute bands and there's a lot of cover bands, and I love them all, and we're satisfied with, the listening room thing and the places that as people get to know us. I love that there's people that have their favorite songs. I don't really use the word fans a whole lot. I like to think friends, you know what I mean? When people that come to see us and, our good friends, John and Beth Stockdale, that comes with a lot of our shows. Their song is Happy Ever Afters. So I hope they always have Happy Ever Afters. And the story behind that was this was Anthony's first show with us, and that's a story in and of itself, because we'd never seen him on stage, and he was just kind of going crazy, and I'm like, what in the hell is this guy doing? And I just noticed everybody was really into it. They liked it because he's very visually, people like to watch him. But the Stockdales were there, and because I noticed he had a 1 Ton Trolley T-shirt on him. At the time, there wasn't a whole lot of them out there.
No,
I
no.
had a box full of them, but I didn't.
Yeah.
They weren't being worn by a lot of people. And they were like, "Can you play that song? What was it? Happy Ever Afters or something like that? You guys played." And I'm like, "We really don't have that worked up." And at that very moment, I said, I am never, ever going to have somebody request a song that I wrote, that we've done, that I can't play again. So we worked, that was the next thing we made sure we had that thing worked up. It's the last song on our record,
Oh yeah.
on Sunday Morning Cigarettes record. And now they come to a lot, the Stockdales come to a lot of our shows, and I'm always like, there you are. This one's for the Stockdales, and we play because
That's awesome.
it's I love it when different people come up to me and they'll say, "This is my favorite song," and it's always different. And I somebody loves this song, somebody else loves that one, somebody else loves that one, and I just think that's really cool.
This feels like a good time, and had you guys talked about Wiltsey's and Essence on Main
Not yet,
and
no.
kind of what's going on down there as far as music?
Well, I mean, Wiltsey's, Brandon Still from Wiltsey's has been, very, very kind to us. We like working with him, and I love the model for how they do it. Getting back to the thing about original music, and that's really what Wiltsey's presents is original music. Venues for those are few and far between. People talk about the ARC. Well, the ARC gets a lot of money from Ford Motor Company. They're a 501c3 nonprofit. Anybody that works there is volunteers, and so you're getting served drinks by somebody that could be removing your spleen at the U of M hospital next week. Literally, I'm not kidding.
Yeah.
Because I ordered a Jack Daniels there one time, and the bottle was almost empty. He poured it out, and he goes, and he handed me the glass. I go, there's another bottle on the wall. We could fill that glass up like to an appropriate amount. And I'm like, looked at him. I'm like, this guy, he's not a Jack Daniels guy.
Right.
This guy is rubber gloves and scalpel guy, or he's digging in somebody's teeth or something. Whatever. He's not.
Shout out to the dentist.
Shout out to the dentist.
There you go.
He'll tell you don't drink Jack Daniels. But I say you should, if you are so inclined.
Antibacterial.
And it's antibacterial for sure. It's antiseptic. And there's other places. Trinity House Theater, 20 Front Street, my beloved 20. I love that place and the people that are involved. Alan Gatz, and everyone there, just wonderful people. I've met so many great people there. And my good friend Tim Williams, who was the artist relations guy there, and we've played there a few times. I've played there a number of times as a solo act, usually opening up for a national touring with somebody or other. But point being is the Lark Theater up in Sheboygan, there's not a lot of original music venues. So what Brandon is doing with Wiltse's is instead of owning a venue that you're paying taxes on and the upkeep of specifically for shows that you might do once or twice a month, that's not a winning proposition. So he started off in 21 North Main, the old antique place.
Yeah.
When we moved to here, it was an antique place, and now it's a Main Street MI co-working facility, and they are able to make it a multi-use facility by having musical events there. Well, as the name grew, and they get some great entertainers, wonderful artists in there. At some point in time, they started shifting some of the shows over to the basement of Essence on Main, and it's such a cool room down there with the stone walls. We actually had, not this January, but the previous January of 23, when we were on the cover of, we were featured in Clarkston Living magazine.
Yeah.
The pictures from that, and that Julia Cuddy photography did, which we later found out she specializes in boudoir photography, and we were like, "What are we?"
I think.
Like, it's like, Julia, what are we doing in the basement of Essence on Main when we should be in your studio doing some boudoir photography?
Boudoir.
And then
Is it called boudoir?
it is now. You've heard it here first.
I heard it here first.
But another great friend of ours, Tanya Carson, who is a publisher, she's been great. Tanya, we love you. She's been fantastic. She's, the point being, there's a few people in this town that are really supportive of this.
Yeah.
And Clarkston could become a wonderful destination for people to come up and have an evening of entertainment. We've got the social district thing now, so you can walk around with your libation. You can have dinner down here, cocktails before, whatever, and then go see a show in the basement of Essence on Main, the Honeycomb, and then go and have a nightcap after, and I think that's great. You don't have to move your car to do it.
Yeah.
We've loved it.
But we do need a parking structure or something.
It's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen.
Thoroughly investigated.
We've investigated it, it's not going to happen.
But you know what? You can park close by and you can walk. So I'm trying to think of who came on our podcast and we talked about that. And they were saying it's like a couple blocks.
It was
right.
rounded.
It's not bad.
Yeah.
Robert,
And you go to New York City, you go to Chicago, you go to
Everywhere
anywhere.
you
You're going
go.
to walk 2 blocks. And so
You're going to walk and you're going to pay for parking. It doesn't matter wherever you
Yeah.
go. If there's something worth going there for,
Yeah. I think
it's
Ian
part
and I
of the thing.
have both kind of, I think that was one of the things we kept kind of asking everybody about is, what about parking? We need more parking.
Yeah.
It would be great if we could have more parking right outside the door. It's just not going to
It's
happen.
not
And I
gonna
think the more people we've talked to that have said, if you go to any big city, you're going to walk a couple of blocks. And I think even Robert, right, was talking about pivoting from the grocery store model to the restaurant model is people aren't going to necessarily carry their groceries blocks away to their car,
Right.
but people will park a little bit further away and walk to a restaurant.
Or to see a music.
Or to see a
Yeah.
musical event, and everything is already
And
there.
entertainment.
So the good thing about that is once you've parked, everything's here.
Yes.
Right. Make it worth it. That's what
Yeah,
happens.
I have my little favorite spots.
Don't tell.
I'm
Don't
not
tell.
going to tell.
Don't
I'm
tell
not.
the
It's a secret.
You canoe over. You canoe over.
Yeah, but it's been a great town.
Yeah.
And I feel like we got to see it develop
Yeah.
over time, over the 23 years or whatever that I've lived here. You know, when there was, what was it, the Clarkston Cafe,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Yeah.
and it just, in its day, it was always a good restaurant.
Yeah.
But you know, it just, you either completely revamp something or you update it or whatever. They obviously completely revamped that place and do an amazing place. And it was one of the first of its kind in the Detroit area, in my opinion, and now has international acclaim.
But do you remember at Clarkston Cafe, like Jim Bazier would play the piano and other local, like they had music there, which is sort of interesting to come back to what used to be. Do you remember that? Ever seen the picture
I don't
there?
really remember. We didn't go there. You know, the Clarkston Cafe years were the little kid years for us.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So,
they were for me too, and the only thing I remember, they had really amazing mints. There were these
I remember
chocolate
the
mints.
mints.
Do you remember in the foil? I wish I remembered
That's
the
so funny.
piano, but I just
I
remember
just
the
remember
mints.
I don't know why I remember that, but yeah.
yeah, but you know, I mean, there's so many great places. I'm curious to see what Robert's going to come up with. I'm assuming we're talking about the same Robert.
Yes.
You
Yeah.
mentioned him.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I mean, we just loved the store.
Yeah.
You know, I
Right.
mean,
It's gonna be great.
we got to make dinner.
It's gonna be great.
Oh, I'm going to run up. You know,
Yeah.
we would always. That's what we do. But I'm anxious to see. And I mean, that's now, it's Restaurant Row. You can't do anything else. We're landlocked. You've got
Yeah.
the Mill Pond over here. You've got Park Lake over there. You've got housing all around.
Right.
That's cool that it's just this compact little nucleus of entertainment and dining and libating
Yeah,
experience.
it's
Is
amazing.
libating a word? I don't
Sure it
know.
is.
We
Today
made
it
it a word.
is. It is. I want to jump back to, because you told us an amazing story about Ghost Garden. Can you talk about where that inspiration came from?
Absolutely. So
Is it okay to talk about?
yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
So yeah, the song Ghost Garden was inspired by a segment from Anthony Bourdain's Parts Unknown. If anybody remembers that, from 2013. He came to Detroit. He used to go to places all over the country, world, or whatever, and sample the local cuisines and always the local drink. So he came to Detroit and hooked up with a friend of mine, Charlie LaDuff. Wasn't a friend of mine at the time. And Charlie took him around the city in a probably more unorthodox way than his producers would normally have. Anthony's producers would normally have done it. Charlie took him to all these off-the-wall restaurants. They even ate at a fire station, which I thought was so cool. And he took him to this neighborhood in Detroit where there's a few houses here and there, but everything else is weeds and rusty bed springs and old tires and just stuff, decay and neglect. And Charlie pointed out to Anthony, the houses that were still there, pretty rough shape, and in between them, all the vacant land with all those weeds and everything, where houses used to be there. They were subdivisions, city blocks, whatever. And he pointed out some perennial flowers that were growing, and he said, "You see those flowers? Somebody planted those 60, 70, 80, who knows, 100 years ago when they lived here and they raised their family here and they loved this place. This was their home. They planted these beautiful flowers. Homes are gone, the people are gone, but those perennial flowers come back every year." And he said, "I call those ghost gardens." And I was like, "Oh, crap. That's some songwriter stuff right there." And I spent months trying to write about those ghost gardens, and it just wasn't really about those. It ultimately became about one man's ghost garden that was planted by his long deceased wife, and his rediscovery of it, and his reconnection with her spiritually, or whatever you want to call it. And that's where it came from. And I said, if I ever record this thing and it's good, I'll send it to Charlie. and say thanks. That's what I did, and then we ended up, being on his podcast, and I'm become friends with him, and I, so it was, that's where that song came from.
Can you play that song for us?
I'll play that song.
Do you want some water?
Oh, that sounds great.
All right.
Water is the fluid of life, right? As they say.
I know that
Thank you.
Our cups
It's
are
a little,
Our
yeah,
cups
it's
are
a little
empty.
early for Jack Daniels in some places.
Is it though?
Not really.
Not for why.
All right, Ghost Garden. Whisper it again to me. Tell me everything is all right. No, it's been a while, but I had to give myself some time. I used to only drive on by. I hid from you by dark of night. I see I miss so much. You were waiting for me in the light. Waiting patiently, oh, rescue me. Right out in the open for the world to see. Now I am a broken man, nothing but a watering can in your ghost garden. Gone is all the wood and stone, all the things that build up home, but hidden in the weeds are those treasures that your heart had sown. And I remember that first spring, the hours that you spent alone, planting messages to me not to be opened until you were gone. Waiting patiently to rescue me, right out in the open for the world to see. Now I am a broken man, nothing but a watering can in your ghost garden. Waiting patiently to rescue me, right out in the open for the world to see. Now I am a broken man, nothing but a watering can in your ghost garden.
You're such a good storyteller, like in song and just in general.
Well, thank you.
You're doing the right thing. This is the right
Thank
fit.
you, thank you, thank you.
Where'd the name of the band come from?
Yeah, it's risque, but
Oh, is it? Ooh.
yeah,
Spicy?
you know, it
Anna's
was
here for
I'm
it.
here.
somebody.
Sure.
We were trying to name the band, and I'm not going to go into too much detail about it because it's probably not appropriate for connecting Clarkston.
All right. You
But,
can tell
um,
us once we're done
all right.
filming.
And as guys will do, sharing these memes of stupid stuff, right? And somebody shows this one, like, look at this thing. Oh my gosh, look at that guy pushing this one-ton trolley around, and everybody got quiet. We're like, is it One Ton Trolley? Is that the name of the band? And we were like, yep.
That's it.
And that was it.
Oh my
And it
God.
was.
Thanks.
There are things in life that are hard, I hear childbirth is pretty tough.
Yeah.
But naming a band, while not at childbirth level, is gotta be one of the most difficult things to do. I envy people that could just walk in there and say, oh yeah, we're gonna be so and so. All right, but by the time you get, ever since the 60s, band names have been getting soaked up. That's why you're finding all these 3-name bands.
Right.
Should we be Stone Temple? Yeah, but there's already a Stone Temple in Kansas. Can we be the Stone Temple Rangers? No, there's already one over here. Well, we'll be the Stone Temple Pilots. Oh, okay, all right. That one's not taken yet. So, these things happen, right? Now I actually heard I think there might actually be a band called Ghost Gardens or something like that. I heard something about that. I'm like, I'm not saying they didn't.
Yeah.
I'm sure they didn't name it after my song, but I mean, I'm like, well, that's cool.
Yeah.
And,
Okay.
But,
We'll hear the spicy version.
Oh my gosh,
We'll
I
turn
know.
the cameras off.
I do think we probably only have like a few minutes left.
Okay.
And so, is there anything that you wanted to talk about specifically today that we haven't touched on?
Yeah, like maybe upcoming gigs.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah, we actually do have a great upcoming show. I'm very excited about this one. This is another Wiltsey's Presents
Okay.
in the Honeycomb, the basement of Essence on Main. And it is going to be on February 24th. Tickets are already selling because this one's going to be pretty cool. We've got some hitters. I'm going to look out a place on stage with these ladies. Erin Zindel, who from the Ragbirds, I mean, she's amazing. She was at Ellopalooza one year we played there. And she's going to be great. She's going to have a fiddle with her also. There might be a little special thing at the end.
Okay.
And then a young lady, Michaela Prue. I mean, I've listened to some of her songs and I'm like, wow, these are just really clever, And then there's me singing about whiskey and gardens from dead people and stuff. So it could be it's going to be an interesting night of generationally speaking and influentially speaking songs.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be kind of fun. We're also, because Holly Trolley Christmas 23 we think it was a really big success.
It was
And
amazing.
we had a blast. We feel like everybody enjoyed it. Our whole thing is when we're doing shows, we like to do value-added shows. We want to make it special where somebody can, I expected us to come and see music, but I didn't expect that there was going to be this.
A DVD player.
Like the CD
or
players
CD player,
or the Christmas ornaments that our great
Yeah.
friend and road manager John Byrell. I
You
gotta
made
give it.
those?
I have to give a shout out to John Byrell.
Gosh.
He's one of my life's best
Was that
friends.
Santa Claus?
Yes.
That was Santa Claus.
And so he's a teacher in Dearborn schools at the I guess the Michael Berry Career Center there, and they use whatever the heck they did, wood burner or 3D printer, whatever they did, all kinds, because they actually the cookies. Did you get one of the 1-ton trolley cookies
yes.
too?
Yes.
Yeah, so we were all about branding that night, and we're gonna make Holly Trolley Christmas 24 an even bigger event.
Oh, fantastic.
Much as we love the honeycomb, we're thinking we're going to go a little bit bigger
Okay,
venue.
I like
So
it.
we are working on it. Still in Clarkston. We're keeping it real in Clarkston. We're connecting Clarkston here. But yeah, I
We don't want to
would,
kick you out the door.
I really would like to give a shout out to. I'm really impressed with the Chamber of Commerce right now. Kendall and Kate are just doing a wonderful job there, and of course, all the other people that are involved with the Clarkston Chamber of Commerce. I'm really happy with what they got doing on it. And then of course, I couldn't do any of this stuff if it wasn't for my wife Beth. Let me do all of this kind of stuff, and she's also, she works right down here. She's a very successful realtor in
Fantastic.
Clarkston at Real Estate One. So we're tied into this area. We love it
You're
here.
committed.
Yeah,
We
we're
can
committed.
do a little shout out. It's a
Yeah.
little soon, but stay tuned for more info about a Kentucky Derby, local musician, mashup party. We'll
Raising
details.
funds for Lighthouse.
Raising funds,
Yeah.
fundraiser, fundraiser.
Fundraiser.
Do
Oh
like
my
that.
gosh.
That's coming. Details soon. Hopefully, One Ton Trolley will be with us, and another local band is in business. So, coming soon. A little plug. Do you want to play us out one of your new songs?
Sure.
That'd be lovely.
Awesome.
Is this the Hail Mary you were talking about?
Yeah,
Whatever you wanna
this
do.
one's going to be on an upcoming record. We probably won't be releasing full records for a little while. That's a major undertaking, and it takes a lot of time. But we'll probably be releasing some singles here and there. And this was the first song I wrote coming out of spinal fusion surgery and all the horrible things that happened from that.
Wow, okay.
I couldn't touch a guitar for weeks, and then I grabbed one and I wrote this. Your fingers down the rosary. 1 out of 5 couldn't hurt, I guess. A shot of holy water, maybe I should pass. Take a deep breath and count to 10. Forgive me, 5, for I have sinned. It's been a long time, you don't remember me, 'cause you sit alone inside the rectory. Sing Hail Mary, full of grace. Please do not forsake me, wrap me up in your embrace. Say, Hail Mary, full of grace. Lead me not into temptation, just forgive me if I stray. Please, Hail Mary, would you help me get back home? Never spoke to me, stand up, sit down and shake a total stranger's hand. Drop a $20 bill in the basket and pass. My salvation kind of surely overdrawn. Can my credit be replenished reading Luke or John? I'm looking for a miracle to come to me, but is it too late for my soul to be free? Say, Hail Mary, full of grace. Please do not forsake me, wrap me up in your embrace. Say, Hail Mary, full of grace. Lead me not into temptation, just forgive me when I stray. Please, Hail Mary, won't you help me get back home? Your fingers down the rosary. 1 out of 5 that couldn't hurt, I guess. A shot of holy water, maybe I should confess.
Great.
So your songs, you want to hear the lyrics. Like, I want to hear you're telling the story, and I'm just paying attention. Like, what did you say? It's so good.
Well, thank you.
Good.
Thank you for having me on.
Thanks for coming. Spending your morning brunch. This is brunch.
Brunch.
We served you in this lovely cup.
No, it's Clarkston.
That's Clarkston. Oh, wait.
Established in 1832.
Oh, cheers. Okay, you come on over for a little cheers.